Hey, what's up everyone? Alex Ward here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play the solo from the Wicker Man by Maiden, which was played by none other than the maestro himself, Adrian Smith. So, without further ado, let's dive right in and get cracking. We're in E standard tuning. This is the E that I'm using, so if you want to tune up to me, go ahead. Now, a few disclaimers. I'm not Adrian Smith, obviously, and I've transcribed all of this by ear and tabbed it out from what I've transcribed by ear. So chances are that this isn't 100% accurate, but it kind of works nicely. It fits, so I'm just teaching what I know to you. So hopefully it helps. By all means, if you think a bit is wrong, you know, play what you think is right, or adapt it to whatever suits your playing better. You know, there's no rules. It's all fun. And yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoy. So we start off in E minor, and we are going to start off with a melody which comes back at the end of the solo as well. It's really, really cool. It starts on the 7th fret of the A string. This lasts for 3 beats. I'm not going to get too hung up with the rhythm here. I'll try and add some tablature onto the video, and there's also tablature available if you want to contact me that I've written out. So either use that or have a listen to the solo and try and use your ear to grab the rhythms for this, because I don't really want to get hung up on explaining them too much in this video, get bogged down in that. So anyway, we start off with the 7th fret. Loads of vibrato. This solo is very emotive, so you're going to want to focus on your emotive and emotional playing rather than the sort of technique and the accuracy. I mean, obviously you want to get this as good as you can get it. You don't want it to be super sloppy, but Adrian Smith's a very emotive player, and there's lots of vibrato and just lots of vibe. You know, if there's a string that's ringing out, or a string that gets caught, or something sounds a bit dirty, it's rock and roll. It's not too much of an issue. But yeah, I mean, try and get it as accurate as you can, but really focus on these vibratos and little palm mutes here and there. We'll touch on that as we go through the video. So 7th fret of the A string, loads of vibrato. Then we go the 9th to the 10th of the A string as well. Back down to the 7th fret. So that sounds like this. Notice how I'm adding that little palm mute onto the 9th and 10th fret. It's things like that that make the other notes pop out and really give you that sort of tasty, delicious sort of playing that Adrian Smith is known for. So this is what we have so far. Then, there's many versions of this solo. Live, he kind of pushes the next note. On the record, I think he does like a palm mute of this next note, so that's what we're going to go with. That's what I've written out. So the next part in this bar is at the very end of the bar on the and of 4. You're going to hit the 7th fret again, but really palm mute that, so it's more of a percussive note leading into the next bar. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice on the and of 4 there, I had this really aggressive palm mute on the 7th fret of the A string. That leads into the next bar, which is a run-up of the E minor scale, or E Aeolian, and it goes like this. So we have the 7th fret of the A string going to the 9th fret, then the 10th fret. Then we repeat the same thing again. And then this time we're going to go up to the 7th fret of the D string. So far of this run up we have this. Then we play the 9th fret of the A string followed by the 10th fret. That's followed by the 7th fret of the D string and the 9th fret of the D string. So thus far we have this. Then we get the 10th fret of the D string, down to the 9th fret, 7th fret, and then the 10th fret of the A string. So the whole run up goes like this. And again, try and get some palm mutes in that run up. The 9th and 10th fret of the A string is quite a good place to do it, maybe the second time round. Again, just helps the notes pop out, gives it just an element of deliciousness, if you like. So, once more, it sounds like this. And then we go to the 7th fret of the A string, which is pushed in that bar. So straight after the 10th fret, you play the 7th fret of the A string, which actually lands on the and of 4 in that bar. So it gives you that push, and then you hang that over until the and of 3 in the next bar, which is where you get a repeat of the first bar, essentially, the 9, 10, 7 of the A string. Okay, that sounds like this. So I'll go from the run up, and it sounds a bit like this going into the next bar. Okay, once you've done that, you then on beat 4 of this bar, you then get 2 high E strings open. And then in the next bar, we start another climb, and this one is 12, 10 on the E string, then 2 E strings, then 14, 12, 2 E strings, then we get another E string, followed by the 14th fret, 15th fret, and then 17th fret of the E. Then we come back down to the 15th fret of the E, then the 14th, ending with a massive vibrato on the 17th fret of the B string. So that whole climb from beat 4 sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. And I'll do it again without the mistake. 1, 2, 3. Okay, loads and loads and loads of vibrato on that. Nice, slow, wide vibrato. And then you're going to hang that note over into the next bar, and what it's going to do is essentially, we're going to play the first bar again, but that note is going to replace the first note, which was the 7th fret of the A string. So you're going to ditch that 7th fret, but repeat the first bar with the 9, 10, 7 at the end of it, okay? So going from that climb into the next bar sounds a bit like this. 1, 2, 3... And then you just repeat that whole thing again, alright? So that's basically the melody. It comes back at the end of the solo as well. So let's take it from the top, nice and slow, and it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Apologies for the mistake there at the end. I sort of scuffed that E string, but I hope you get the idea there. Now let's play that a little bit more up to speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so yeah, not quite up to speed, but you're kind of getting there with that. So that is the first melody. It then moves into B, and it goes half time here, and this is where it gets really, really tasty. So we start off with a 10th fret of the B string bend up to the 12th fret, and then you pull it back down and give it so much vibrato, almost to the point of not really knowing what note it is you're playing anymore. Which sounds really, really cool, and Adrian Smith is a god at things like that. So that's what we have there. Really give it some beans as well, you know, like don't be timid and shy and really accurate with that. You know, really get into that and dig into those bends. And that's the same with all the bends in this solo and a lot of the notes as well. Just really have at it, okay? So we have that bend. Then we get a triplet hammer-on pull-off, so it's a little bit quicker, this bit. It's only short, and it's the 7th fret of the E string, hammering onto the 10th fret and pulling back off to the 7th fret. Like that. So we get... Okay, then we get the 10th fret of the B string, the 7th fret of the E string, sounds like this. Okay, so you notice that 10th fret of the B string and 7th fret of the E string is slightly slower. Okay, then we get this cool little step down lick, I think is a good way to describe it. So we get the 10th fret of the B, 7th fret of the E. Then we do the same, but we have the 8th fret of the B instead. Then we go back to the first version, and then back to the 8th version again. So notice after each of those B string notes, we're playing the 7th fret of the E string again. So we've got this. It's kind of nice. So including from the bend. A little slower. Okay, then we get the 10th fret of the B string again, back to the 7th fret of the E. Then we go 9th of the G string, then to the 7th fret of the E. And then we get the 8th fret of the G string with loads of vibrato. So in total, from the step down lick, that sounds like this. So just watch out for that little string skip from the 9th to the 9th of the G to the 7th of the E. Try not to catch the B string when you do that. Okay, then we're going to push into the next bar, so we get another 10th fret bend, but it's going to come in on the and of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is awesome. So you get this bend, and then we do this. Okay, that's the first part of this lick, so we have a bend from the 10th fret of the B string. Then on beat 2 of the next bar, you play the 7th fret of the E, then kind of bar over with your first finger to the 7th fret of the B. So that sounds like this. And then you play the 10th fret of the B, which is followed by a quick bend on the 9th fret of the G string up to the 11th fret, like that. I might use my second finger there sometimes I use my third finger. Don't get too old about the finger placements of this, you know, whatever works for you. then the 7th fret of the B, then the 10th fret of the G. It's a cool little blues note, so it sounds like this. Cool, eh? And then we get a pull off from the 9th fret of the G to the 7th fret of the G, which is then followed by the 9th fret of the D string, really heavy palm mute here, so you can hardly hear the note. And then with your 3rd finger, just bar back over to the 9th fret of the G. So we've got this. Then you're going to sort of mute the G string just by resting your fingers over it slightly, so there's not really a sound, it's more of a percussive note. So it's quite a percussive bit, this part. Then we play the 7th fret of the G, and then you go down to the 9th fret of the A string, which is heavily palm muted, followed by the 5th fret of the D string, which is also palm muted. You might want to use your little finger for that 9th fret, and your 1st finger for the 5th fret. So this is kind of a tricky little phrase, so I'll play it all through. I'll play it fast so you can hear what it's going to sound like, and then I'll play it a bit slower so you can really get to grips with the rhythms of this, because it's quite intricate. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, actually I use my 3rd finger on that 9th fret and go to my 1st finger, so I have a little position jump. Here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is it nice and slow, just so you can get the intricate rhythms down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you might want to spend a little bit of time on that bit. It's kind of cool. I mean, any kind of lick, like B pentatonic kind of lick, was going to work nice there, but that's a really particularly tasty lick that Adrian does there, so I would definitely advise spending a bit of time getting that right. So far, from the start of this section that's in B, we have this. And nice and slow. 1, 2. Okay, so moving on to the next part of the solo, we've just come out of this bit. So the 9th fret of the A up to the 5th fret of the D. You then have, in the next bar, 7th fret of the D, down to the 5th fret of the D, followed by the 9th fret of the A string again, palm muted, and then the 5th fret of the D string, palm muted. So from the start of this bar. Then we get the 7th fret to the 5th fret again on the D string, followed by the 9th fret and the 7th fret of the A string. So all in all, this bar sounds like this. And then we get the 6th fret of the A string with loads of vibrato. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we put that together with the lick we had previously, it sounds like this. Okay, really tasty things going on there. Okay, then we get this really wicked diminished lick. It sounds like this. It's quite terrifying, but it's not as terrifying as it sounds. So yeah, it's not as terrifying as it sounds, it's just repeated patterns, it's just a little bit awkward to play. So these are all triplets, they're kind of the same shape, you just have to move your fingers ever so slightly. So you can use your third and first finger if you want, I think that's what Adrian does. I use my little and first finger because it's more comfortable for me. And you go 10th fret of the D, pull off to the 7th fret. Then you're going to shift slightly and play the 9th fret of the A string. And then you are going to play the 6th fret of the A string and then hammer on to the 9th fret again. So we have this. And then you finish off the phrase with the 7th fret of the D string again. So together that phrase sounds like this. And then you repeat it twice. Then you play the same shape, but you're just going to shift it down, so you're starting on the G string this time, and you're going to shift it all up 1 fret. So you're going to be on the G string, it's the same phrase, same rhythm, same sort of pattern, but you're going to be on the 11th fret of the G, pulling off to the 8th fret of the G. Then you're going to be on the 10th fret of the D, pulling off to the 7th fret of the D. So we have this. And that's twice too. You then go back to the first bar. So in total, so far, this diminished lick sounds like this. Cool, and then we get up to the B string, same triplet rhythm, but a different pattern now. You're going to pull off from the 12th to the 10th fret of the B string, then pull off to the open B string. Then you're going to pull off from the 10th fret to the 8th fret of the B string, then the open B string. So that sounds like this so far. And then you play the 12th fret of the B string, followed by the 12th fret of the G string, loads of vibrato. Okay. And a bit faster. So the whole diminished lick, including that last bar, sounds like this, nice and slow. Now going from the back end of that diminished lick up to the B string bit with the pull-off is very, very tricky, and that's going to take a little bit of practice, especially trying not to like hit a load of the strings as you move position. Okay. So just work on that nice and slow, take it at whatever speed you need to take it at, and then build that up as your fingers get used to the muscle memory of where they're actually hitting, okay? So from the start of that diminished lick to the end, sounds like this. Okay, and then we get this absolutely ripping lick. Now with this next bit, it's kind of all alternate picking, but if you miss a pick and you pull off or you hammer on or whatever, it's really not a problem. Like we said at the start of the video, all about vibe, all about emotive playing, all about the feeling that you're purveying, okay? So don't worry too much about the accuracy of this next bit. It's tricky, it's fast, take it slow, and it sounds a bit like this. I'll do it nice and slow. Okay, so it's all in triplets again, so this whole kind of section's in triplets. You start on the 17th fret of the B string, going up to the 19th, then the 20th. Okay, then you do the same on the E string. So we have this. Then you come back down. So you come back down to the 20th fret of the B string. Then you go the 17th fret of the E string, 17th fret of the E string, 20th fret of the B string, 19th fret of the B string. So that first part of the lick sounds like this. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And then the next section, you start off the same. And then when you get to that 17th fret, you're actually going to come back down to the 20th fret of the B string. And you're going to play that B string 3 times on the 20th fret. Then you're going to go 19, 17, and then 19 on the G string. Then you're going to go 19 of the B string, 17 of the B string, then back to the 19 of the B string. So we have this. And then you're going to go 17th of the B string and finish on the 19th fret of the G string. So in total, that bar sounds like this. And with the bar previously, we've got this. Then you repeat the first bar of this phrase. And then to finish this whole section off, you go to the 17th fret of the B string, then to the 15th fret of the B string, followed by the 17th fret of the G string, still in triplets. Then you go 15th fret of the B string, 17th fret of the G string, and then you do the 16th fret of the G string twice. Buckets of vibrato as per usual. So that last bit of the phrase. And the whole crazy section together, nice and slow, sounds like this. So that position shift from the parts where you're on the 17, 19, 20 going down to this last part of the phrase, that's kind of tricky as well, especially at speed. Speaking of which, let's hear that sped up so that you can get a grasp of what it actually sounds like in context. So you notice that's a little bit sloppy, a little bit kind of not super accurate pinpoint picking, but again, it's the vibe. You're going for that Adrian Smith sort of sound. That's what you want. You want some of that, like just the rock and roll edge to sort of seep through in that thing. And it's not an excuse for not practicing your alternate picking to perfection. You absolutely should do that. It's just really not the place for it, if that makes any sense. Don't be, rubbish with it. Don't be lazy and sloppy and just be like, yeah, it's sloppy, it's fine. You want to get it to a point, but, try and keep the edge in there as well. Here it is one more time. And one more time, slow. And here's the whole of that middle section of the solo at half speed. Great, and then once you finish that part, you just go back into the melody that we saw at the start of the solo, the whole thing exactly the same as you can see on the tablature, and that's the solo completed. So don't forget, Keep it vibey, keep it emotive. Don't be super accurate. Keep the rock and roll element in there. Add the palm mutes in to allow the notes to pop. But yeah, I mean, I hope you have fun with that. It's a really cool solo. I've loved playing it. I love transcribing it. I've loved teaching it to you guys. So yeah, any comments? Feel free to pop them in the comment box. Any questions about any parts of the solo you're having trouble with? Any suggestions if you want some more lessons? If you like this lesson, you know, I'd be really interested to hear. Please feel free to like and share the video. I'd be so grateful for that. And yeah, until next time, take it easy.